Knuckles, what could be worse than a giant paint bubble?
Oh, I know. 2 giant paint bubbles.
No! Patrick,
Yeah, SpongeBob?
I don't think this bubble can get much bigger.
Nonsense!
No!
What's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our very 77th episode of the Dockery Docket. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. And if you are excited to be here, make sure to go down below and hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help me out. So, after last week with the whole debacle in Afghanistan, I entered into this week with some optimism. I thought, hey, maybe this week will be better. Maybe last week I went a little bit crazy with the whole Afghanistan stuff, and I would have to come back on here and say, don't worry everyone, everything's fine in Afghanistan, nothing to worry about, everything is absolutely fantastic. Well, I was wrong. Everything turned to crap overnight, and it just continues to get worse and worse as time goes by. All because we decided to pull out of Afghanistan without any plan. We should have made sure that every single citizen of Afghanistan that wanted to leave or is trapped there had the opportunity to leave before the military left and all of a sudden the Taliban took over. But instead, we did the opposite. And now we know that the Taliban has all of our weapons. We talked about this last week. And they are in control, and they have the power to tell Americans what to do. We have the date set to leave for August 31st, which is Tuesday. And after that, all the U.S. military will be gone. And all the people that are still there will be left there, on their own, with no one there to help them. More than likely, the Taliban will get to them, and they will be killed, or it'll be a huge hostage situation. We thought the Iran hostage crisis was bad. We thought that ISIS in Syria was bad, and now we have a new form of ISIS called ISIS-K that will be able to behead Americans in Afghanistan because the Taliban will do nothing to stop them. There's this whole idea that the Taliban is against ISIS when they both agree on the same principles. And the Taliban is known for hiding suspected terrorists. Look at Osama bin Laden. Okay, let me just slow down a little bit. Because we can't always look at the bad, we have to look at some good things that are going on, right? Well, according to the Biden administration, there is one thing good that's happening, and that is that the administration is doing a great job with this evacuation process that they have going on. As we are taking hundreds of Afghan and American citizens away on airplanes. We even have private companies coming over with airplanes trying to help people out. There is a huge problem with this evacuation though. If we would have gotten out the right way, meaning that we pulled out our citizens right away, then we wouldn't have needed an evacuation process. However, because we left the wrong way, we have a situation where we have to go back and save our own people. And we still don't even know how many people we have to save. But I mean, this whole situation is like a ship with 1,000 people on it. And the captain decides that he's going to purposely slam his ship into another ship. This causes a big hole in the captain's ship, and all of a sudden it starts filling up with water. So he decides to spring into action and put out the lifeboats. As the boat starts to sink, all of these lifeboats were filled, and 600 people were saved. And the captain is seen as a hero, even though 400 people were left behind and perished from something that was preventable. This is how it looks, and it is absolutely infuriating, because all of this could have been avoided. This whole evacuation process is how the left is trying to defend Joe Biden, as people like Jen Psaki are like, hey, Biden is saving people's lives. Well, their lives shouldn't even have been in danger in the first place. Also, there's another thing that made my blood boil this week, as on Twitter, major people on the left were defending Joe Biden by using the same exact logic. Well, the situation is bad, but the evacuation is successful, and no Americans died. No Americans have died. This is a huge success for Biden. Wow, Biden is doing such a great job. No American deaths. You know that in Florida, Ron DeSantis is killing thousands of people, and the evil orange man also killed people too because they purposely threw COVID on people? This argument of no American deaths is stupid because with this whole situation, there have been deaths. Not from Americans, but apparently the lives of Afghan citizens don't matter to the left. As we saw last week, people were falling from the airplane to their deaths. We have also seen many women be beat up in the streets and raped and brutalized because they don't have the right head covering. People are being whipped in the streets and hurt really, really bad. But at least there are no American deaths, right? I mean, if we are going to play this game with the left, and we are starting to rank things by the amount of deaths, then the Capitol attack on January 6th wasn't that bad, right? Only one American died. Not that big a deal. No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. As we all should know that the attack on the Capitol was bad, even if no Americans died, just like for this situation. And the sad reality is I don't know why this made my blood boil so much, but it did. Maybe it made me so mad because I knew that deep down there was a possibility that something could happen on the ground which could result in American lives being lost. And also, I hate that the left ignored the Afghan people that were falling from airplanes or that are being brutalized by the Taliban right now. Also, American intelligence were telling people on the ground that they needed to stay away from the airport because it is dangerous and there could be a possibility of an attack. Now with this new ISIS-K coming around, the threats are getting higher and higher. So even though I was hoping and I was praying that no Americans would die in Afghanistan because of our stupid policies, in the back of my mind I knew that there was a possibility that something could happen and that could rattle the entire world. Well, something did happen in Afghanistan, and once again, it made my blood boil. As according to AP News, there were 2 suicide bombers and gunmen that attacked crowds of Afghan and Americans trying to get to the airport. Now, different reports have come out and said that it was only 1 bomber, but other reports are saying 2, so I'm not really sure how many there are, so, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but still, either if it's 1 or 2, it is a tragic event. But now first, I want to set up the scene for this airport. This airport is like New York City before COVID-19. There are people probably shoulder to shoulder trying to get to this airport, trying to get to an airplane, and stupid people decided to kill people. As it was reported that the attacks killed 60 Afghans and 13 United States troops. So this whole idea of 0 American deaths is now thrown out the window, as now we have to prepare 13 coffins. This is all because of the leadership of Joe Biden, 100%. He was the one that wanted to get out at this time. So all of this is on him. This didn't have to happen. These American troops didn't have to die. Now, I want to make something 100% clear. It is not just me that is blaming Joe Biden for all of this chaos that is going on, as there are many Democrats and Republicans that are attacking Joe Biden for this whole situation. But if we wanted to get really, really close and really find out who the culprit of this bombing was, then we can look at the new ISIS that has emerged. Because, once again, we failed in our exit strategy. If we would have left the correct way, then the Afghan government would still be in control right now, the Taliban wouldn't have come up, and the Taliban wouldn't have released ISIS fighters from jail. So Republicans are attacking Joe Biden for this whole situation. Democrats are attacking Joe Biden for this whole situation. And now the parents of these Marines that died are attacking Joe Biden for his leadership, or lack thereof. As recently, 2 fathers came forward and expressed their outrage at Joe Biden. One of these fathers claimed that Joe Biden turned his back on his son and also other Marines. The other father said in a statement, "Be afraid of our leadership or lack thereof. Pray every day for the soldiers that are putting their lives at risk and doing what they love, which is protecting all of us. I think they're the only ones that we can honestly say have our backs." Now, I like how this father described the leadership that we are seeing in America right now. There is a lack of leadership because Joe Biden is not competent. He looks like he's supposed to be in a nursing home, and he stumbles on every single word that he says. He looks absolutely terrible up there on the stage. It's horrible. I mean, honestly, this week I was hanging out with family and one of my cousins was like, I don't usually watch the news, and I decided to watch the Joe Biden speech, and he sounded and looked terrible. And I was like, yes, he sounds and looks terrible because he's 186 years old. And in this speech, he didn't sound strong. He sounded weak and sluggish. Our enemies are watching us right now and thinking that we are an easy target. Because what's Joe Biden going to do? Drool on us? I would say that I would agree with some things in this speech, but if we are being honest, I didn't agree with a lot of things that he said in this speech. He was trying to be sympathetic to the families that lost a loved one. But that doesn't matter when the situation, once again, could have been avoided. It seems hollow and empty from a president that's supposed to be oozing with empathy. In the speech, Joe Biden made it 100% clear that we won't be able to get all of our civilians and also our Afghan friends out of Afghanistan by August 31st. So they will just have to defend for themselves, I guess. He also said that we are working with the Taliban to make sure that all of our people are able to get to the airport. As according to some sources, the Taliban was actually doing security. And according to the time of this bombing, that didn't go very well, apparently. And then Joe Biden had some big mean word for ISIS. And he exclaimed that we would come after them on our own time. Maybe in the future, we aren't really sure. And as of the typing of this episode, America has bombed ISIS. But it would have been better if ISIS wasn't even around in the first place, which once again could have been avoided if we didn't leave the way that we did. Then, there were the moments of this speech where the American people asked themselves, is Joe Biden even in charge? As there was a report that came out before all of this happened that U.S. officials provided the Taliban with a list of names of Americans and Afghan allies to evacuate. Now, this is a very big deal because this is basically a kill list for the Taliban. The Taliban is not kind to people, especially Afghan citizens, that decided to work with the United States. They kill these people, and now they have their names on this little piece of paper. Because of this, there was a lot of backlash at the Biden administration. And so after Joe Biden made his remarks on the whole bombing in Afghanistan, and after he told the crowd that they gave him a list of reporters to call on, a reporter asked him about this list of our allies and American citizens that will soon be dead. This is what Joe Biden had to say about this whole list situation.
But I can't tell you with any certitude that there's actually been a list of names. I know there may have been, but I know of no circumstance. It doesn't mean didn't exist. That here's the names of 12 people, they're coming, let them through. It could very well have happened. I'll take one more question.
Joe, you are the President of the United States. The buck stops with you, remember? How on earth do you not know this vital information? It makes me wonder, who is running this administration? Is it Jen Psaki? Is it Kamala? Who is it? It's obviously not Joe, if they aren't even telling him important information. Does Joe Biden even understand what is happening in Kabul right now? I don't know, but I think he would like nothing more than for us Americans to forget about this horrific situation. One last point about this speech, because I believe it is very, very important. Remember the reason why Joe Biden is giving this speech. He's trying to show empathy to the American people. So after he was done getting wrecked by Peter Doocy of Fox News, he felt the need to say, I have another meeting for real. This just throws all of this empathy that he has out the window. They are all hollow words from a teleprompter. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about the soldiers that just died. He has another meeting to attend to. The truth is that the American people have a lot of questions. And Joe Biden should have been out there answering a lot of questions no matter how long it takes. No matter how many meetings that he has afterwards. I imagine that under Trump, if he would have said anything like this, the media would be going on and on and on about it. But with this situation, no one has even talked about what Joe Biden just said. Because no one cares. Because they want to defend Joe Biden no matter what. But here's the sad reality. This was the darkest day of Joe Biden's presidency so far. And my fear is that it will continue to get darker after the deadline of August 31st ends. Right now, we are losing important allies, as even our strongest ally, Great Britain, is ticked off at us, as they begged and they pleaded for Joe Biden to extend the deadline, and Joe Biden said no. Now Great Britain is saying that our relationship is on ice, The Parliament of Great Britain has even voted to put Joe Biden in contempt on his handling of Afghanistan. This basically means that Joe Biden is worthy of scorn for his actions in Afghanistan. And I think that many nations will follow suit, as other allies also can't get their people out. It was reported that the French and Russian military had to go in on their own to get their own soldiers out. New Zealand has claimed that they can't get their citizens out of Afghanistan. This, I believe, is going to be detrimental to the presidency of Joe Biden. As if the Taliban or ISIS wants to get money from the US or other countries, all that they have to do is grab one of these people that are stranded there and make a video that says, "We demand the US give us $10,000 or we will kill this person." The United States does nothing and that person dies. And this could happen over and over and over and over and over again. We could see videos of ISIS-like beheadings for weeks, maybe even months. I hope not. I really, really do. I really hope that the situation doesn't go as bad as I'm claiming right now. But I do think that the Taliban and ISIS will use whatever they can to help themselves get money. And the sad reality, once again, is that all of this could have been avoided. All of it could have been avoided, but we are run by an old fool who doesn't know where he is half the time. And it is a complete mess. In the end, when I was growing up, my parents have always told me to respect the President of the United States. My mom has given the example many times of the president being like a pilot of an airplane. And we don't want the plane to go down. We need to respect the pilot. I respect the president. I hope that he does good things for America. But it is with this respect that we can see that Joe Biden is not fit to serve as president of the United States. He has worked years in the Senate and became the vice president of the United States. Right now, he should be on a beach in California with Jill enjoying retirement. All that I'm trying to say here is that this presidency is just sad. Plain up sad. It is sad to see him walk out looking like he escaped the nursing home. It's sad to see him slip up on easy sentences. It is sad to see him cower in fear when someone is asking him a question. It is sad that the White House has cut off his microphone many times and tells him to avoid the press. With all of this, we can see that Joe Biden is not strong enough for the job of President of the United States. And I believe that he has to go. Whether this be from him resigning, or if the House and Senate decide to impeach him, which won't happen, I still believe that he has to go in one way or another. Now, I know what you're thinking. Kyle, if that happens, then Kamala Harris will be in charge. Yes, she will. But for as bad as Kamala Harris is, Joe Biden is way worse. And we know that he is no longer with us. And he is not fit to serve. I say we bring on Kamala now, and then in 2024 we elect a president that will show strength and leadership. Someone that our enemies fear, instead of walk all over. With the amount of crises that we've seen so far from this administration, I'm just scared that this is just the peak. I'm scared that more situations are going to happen in Afghanistan, in Taiwan, in Korea, because our enemies don't fear Joe Biden. Our allies feel betrayed by us. And all the people that are on the ground still in Afghanistan feel like they have been left behind, stranded, because they know that the president will not come and rescue them. And that's why I believe Joe's gotta go. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for watching this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.